Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining Archangel Alts. And I'm going to go ahead and get this set up for the full screen browser. And here we are, so we should be good. I'm going to click on the sidecar here, make sure that everything's looking the way that it should. And also to make sure that I will be able to see any comments that you might have. So thank you so much for joining. This is Gordon Freeman, the Free Man, and reporting to you on our cryptocurrency coin spotlight for today, April 24th. 1:53 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, April 24th, 2019. So, as I'll always state with these things, and I think it's a good point to make, that we're all working toward mass adoption, and it is the stance of Archangel Alts that mass adoption comes from liquidity. Now, that could mean a million different things, but in this case, liquidity, the most instantaneous way that anybody can show their support for the growth of altcoins and cryptocurrencies and the bits of coins and Ethereums. The way to launch these things forward into the mainstream, other than telling people about it and making use of it in the way that is naturally day-to-day the most useful to you, mass adoption is going to come from liquidity. Liquidity comes from trading on a legitimate exchange, and we choose Binance. And we think that you should too. So I'm going to make sure that I got the notes correct for this. I want to make sure that I'm pointing to the right things. Looks good. For that. So, yes, I think we are set to go. So, been watching the market, of course, obviously, and one of the things that we recently decided to go in on, really right now with the market being as just absolutely horrendous as it is, despite our wonderfully happy higher volume and higher price value for Bitcoin, it's happening at the expense of a very unhealthy market for a lot of other things. So literally, I think minutes ago, there were 3 different coins in the green. And that's in the green from their negative 27%. Other stuff has gone down as much as another 20%. So we're seeing what is actually effectively a worse low than mid-November at the Bitcoin Cash hard fork. And you know, the news for that went back before 2018. I thought that was fascinating. So they had been complaining for a long time before the break happened there. So what's the deal with IOTX? Ironically, there is IOST, IOTA, and IOTX or IOTEX as their main name exists. And you can actually see right here, this was part of the reason for our initial interest in going in. Unfortunately, the down in the market has just absolutely clobbered anything good that's going on. So there's going to be a lot of climbing up for every altcoin. We believe in telling the truth, so telling it like it is. And there is absolutely room for sky's the limit kind of growth, doubling, tripling, quadrupling. The thing is that good things happen steadily. It doesn't have to mean that they happen slow. I like the fast-paced nature of things just as much as the next person. But it does need to not be a knee-jerk, because this industry does not respond well to knee-jerks. That's just the way it is. So I'm going to see if I can get our Slack group loaded up here on the sidecar as well. That would make things a little bit easier for everybody, but I don't think I have it loaded in on this computer. I'm going to kind of switch around the sidecar laptops for different rooms that I work in and different locations that I travel with. So this one seems to be working pretty well now. Anyway, got my eyes on, if you happen to meander into this live chat, you are welcome to do so. You're welcome to join us. Looking forward to it. And just by the way, make sure that you come and join our community. Subscribe to this on YouTube. Give us a thumbs up, comment, ring the bell, and that way you will be up to date with updates. Make sure and click on the link that I put there in the chat. Archangel Alts HEC webinar. You'll want to join for that. It will get you in the loop as to who we are and what we're doing. What we is all about. We talk and talk to things. So it's an EGC webinar registration. Very few things. You know, if you are in this sector at all because you're interested in earning off of the growth potential of cryptocurrencies. I think that that's a smart thing to be doing. The global economy largely is based on speculation, and another big chunk is based on fiat. So why not be in the sector that is pretty smart, speculating on something that replaces fiat is just kind of a logical crossover. Do I think it will replace it? Probably not. It's going to over time probably become more like it. But let's not let that scare us off into false determinations about things. This is going to be a huge growth sector. It's entirely new own asset class. But the EGC webinar, EGC is our exponential growth curve and how you should have your very own, and to grow, track, and just absolutely bewilder the wonderful growth that you can see. We measure growth based in the size of the trade, and as the size of the trade increases, so does the locked in value of the same risk level profit, meaning that if you are setting your risk level at 0.5%, half of a percent, every time you grow, your trade size grows by a 0.5% until you logically eventually come to a place where you may not have more circulation available than your actual trade size, at which point you can choose a place to adjust your EGC and then scale it again, and then slightly adjust it, scale it again. Eventually you'll come to a place where even if you are offloading profits, even daily off of that you are no longer touching either your initial investment nor the scaling of the trade size, meaning that you've got growth, you've got something to back up the growth, and you can be paying yourself. So the way to do that is to not touch the growth until you have reached a certain point, going beyond equilibrium. We realizing the negative 60% and then the readjustment, negative 50% readjustment, negative 60% readjustment, and now we have a negative 40%. So not the kind of landmarks that we want to have, I would say. We'd rather it be where it never goes down to the bottom again, but we are establishing a new bottom, unfortunately, for the majority of coins. So we're going to be building from that bottom upwards. Those of you that are just getting into this, oh my goodness, you are entering the market at exactly the right time. Actually, exactly the right time it would have been about 2 weeks ago when we were still breaking upwards for Bitcoin. But anything under 7K is a ridiculous value on Bitcoin. If you're thinking of investing in this, something of $100,000 or $200,000 investment, safely managed and watched and processed with, somebody like Archangel Alts, is going to have a better yield than a 15 to 30 yield in anything else, any kind of asset class you could possibly imagine. You should really get in touch with this. So, need I say more? IOTX. Let's start with what they say they are, who they say they are. The privacy-centric blockchain platform to power the internet of trusted things. So there's the T of X, of internet of things. Trusted. Okay, and they got their white paper right here. You can check that out. There's announcements right here. You can check that out. Special thanks to their website and the other links. I've got all the links in there that are discussed in this video, so you can get there yourself. You can see there's the launch. There's products on GitHub, Explorer, and the wallet. Resources, academics, announcements, forum, and frequently asked questions. About, there's their roadmap, partnerships, charity, careers, contributions, documentation. I'm going to leave the white papers, the resources up to you. I will go over the frequently asked questions and everything on the about, documentation. Just learn these things for yourself if you find this interesting. So what is it? What is it? What is it? A decentralized network for Internet of Things, powered by a privacy-centric blockchain. Despite its rapid evolution, IoT is still far from reaching mass adoption and lacks, hey, there you go, good for you. Good for you, that. And lacks killer applications that would draw new users to the ecosystem due to issues such as low scalability, high operation cost, privacy concerns, and lack of functional values. So that's despite its rapid. So the Internet of Things is still dealing with mass adoption. Now, I do have some ideological difficulties with the Internet of Things because privacy matters. And if you're high tech and you're wanting to improve the efficiency of your own stuff, got no problem with that. The government having access to it and deciding what you should do with your stuff, whole different problem, and it's not an imaginary paranoid type thing. It is something that happens in many, the majority of emerging socialist culture countries. Is just the truth, is the way that management is thought of as efficiency, and you may not want somebody else's business in your own efficiency. Yummy. Yep. Despite that, okay, so IOTX is tackling this problem by introducing token economy into Internet of Things spaces, as we strongly believe that crypto incentives as well as the community effort are the two key forces to propel innovations into Internet of Things stuff. In short, IOTX is the next gen Internet of Things oriented blockchain platform with strong scalability, privacy, isolatability, and developability, and for incubating new Internet of Things applications and ecosystems. So privacy, scalability, interoperability. So scalability, they're talking about availability, which is important, meaning that if everybody has access, everybody can use a centralized concept that is supposedly decentralized. So, fast consensus, built-in privacy preserving techniques, blockchain in blockchains like Plasma, pull states off the root chain to further boost privacy. Scalability and interoperability, innovated cross-chain transferring of value and data. Decentralized autonomous organization for IoT, Internet of Things. Code is law for the robot world. That's a really interesting point. Boy, that would make a really good governance clause discussion and just in general a crypto philosophy video. Somebody should do that. I should do that. Yeah. IOTX architecture. So you can see here they go into the details about what the architecture is. I'm going to let you research it on this yourselves because you may be at different levels of technical understanding and inclination. So I don't want to either overshoot or undershoot. So here's the team. One of these things is not like the other. Okay. Okay, I didn't say anything. So here's the roadmap. 2017, kickoff research on lightweight privacy preserving techniques for blockchain. White paper writing, design and prototype of key components, testnet preview launch, testnet alpha, beta, mainnet preview. And so here we are, staking and voting and delegate selection, mainnet alpha launch. Integration with DApps, decentralized applications, smart and trusted devices. L2 chain for trusted computing and privacy, decentralized governance, and decentralized economics. They are on Binance, they are on Gate.io, they are on KuCoin, they are on Bittrex, they are on Upbit, and they are on Google. Very interesting, yes. Very interesting. Alright, so I'm going to go to, I believe that takes us here. Their partnerships, that should be interesting. Global ecosystem partners are building the future of IoT on blockchain. So here we go, yeah. We are partnering with icons and other icons as well. So you know what, I'm going to let you click on those depending on the level of interest. I don't want to get too far away from their own stuff, and I do want to take a quick look at their documentation. Founded as open source, grand design, governance layer, orchestration layer, operational layer, execution layer. We already saw a lot of this stuff. So yeah, you know, so much of this is based on your level of tech understanding and interest. So click as ye may. And I'm going to go to the frequently asked questions here. I accept your cookies. IOTX's mission, auto-scalable, privacy-centric blockchain infrastructure for Internet of Things. What problems can it solve? That's really the big question, isn't it? Rapidly evolved over the past few years, the Internet of Things have, but lacks real-world killer apps. McKinsey and Company predicts that Internet of Things could generate up to $11 trillion per year in economic value by 2025. If we're allowed to own things by then, that sounds good. Despite the massive potential for Internet of Things, there are roadblocks ahead, such as lack of scalability, privacy concerns, lack of functional values. I definitely see the privacy concerns. IOTX is solving these problems by creating a flexible, privacy-centric blockchain infrastructure tailor-fit for IoT, Internet of Things. Leveraging blockchain in blockchain architecture with crypto economic incentives. Smart. Okay. Competitive advantages. Main event innovations, blockchain in blockchain, which ensures privacy and prevents IoT information leakage. But it kind of seems like within that blockchain could be built the governmentability of things, which is kind of part of the purpose of the efficiency. Just as an example, if you have a smart fridge and you scan into the fridge, a lot of people have the ones where it shows a picture of what's inside on the front, which I think is hilarious. But it's more efficient to see what's in there than it is to run an LED screen. So, as you are running out of tomato juice, it'll say, hey, make sure and buy tomato juice. You can imagine that these things are going to be locked into each other. So, say, for instance, no, I don't mean say, for instance. For instance, wait, stop doing that, would you? Say, for instance, you had your Publix grocery store, for instance, account connected to your smart fridge, right? So you would go to Publix and it would be able to auto link from whatever your fridge told your grocery store. And so you go there and you could shop for the things that it needs to replace. You don't need to have your own grocery list because it's done it for you. Or for some, even better, you would automatically have your new things replenished for free delivery. Of course, that's the way that businesses are going to be using blockchain to improve inventory and scalability issues. So, something gets marked off the shelf, it automatically gets refilled. No people involved. So the problem is the robots don't understand the economics. They just run the numbers. It gets to be a little bit of a problem. But a token, one of the key factors affecting monetary value is inflation. We plan to address inflation by fixing the total supply of IOTX tokens at 10 billion tokens. It's an ERC, but I believe that they'll be mainnetting like right now, unless that's not happening. They've released the first testnet preview. Can other projects launch their own token on IOTX? Yes. Was there a whitelist or public token sale? There was not. What are the token metrics? Total token supply, 10 billion. Private sale closed, 25,000 Ethereum. Token price, 1 IOTX equals 0.0000 Ethereum. 20% bonus for private sale investors. Lock up period, 12 months. How are they distributed? Yada, 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 et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you continue to be interested in that topic, then go for it. So I'm closing that one out so we can see the next one. There's the partnerships. We talked about that. So here we are on CoinGecko. So I just thought it'd be helpful to kind of see the. I know. Okay. Just the general view. Make sure that I am on the right thing. Yes. Okay. Delegate voting has begun. Vote for your favorite delegate. Yada yada. I don't really get too concerned and involved in that stuff. So you can see it's gotten hit somewhere within the margin. Their historical data. My browser's fine. Just deal, okay? All right. So you can see a history in dollars. And I wonder if there's a way for me to switch that over to BTC because I'd really prefer that. But you can see, just as an example, I just think it's so much easier to see that way. I'm actually going to look at the close amounts. So going back just, not quite a month, 901, 95, 96, 97, 104, 101, 127, 47, 160, 150, 160. Kind of topped out there, 130, 140, 150, 160, 140, 127. Okay, so, and today is undetermined. So we were caught somewhere in the rise in here. I don't automatically have the brain for doing the conversions. So found this really interesting article. I think you'll find it interesting to thank you to Coin Bureau. Review of IOTX, privacy conscious blockchain for Internet of Things. Designed to connect the physical world of internet devices block by block and will be both fast and scalable thanks to unique role DPoS consensus mechanism IOTX. Also brings to bear a lightweight technique for preserving privacy. However, given the extensive list of privacy coins and IoT solutions, can they really differentiate themselves? So that is the big question. If they technically can handle everything that they say they can handle, that's their technical hurdle. But the real thing in here is whether they can compete. They're not the only tech giants thinking Internet of Things. So the number of Internet of Things devices will exceed 50 billion by 2022. I can almost guarantee you it could double that in a shorter time. According to research conducted by Juniper Research. That's a huge number, and this immense number of internet-connected devices will also need secure methods of communication and automation in real time. Just imagine for a second if you had, let's just round it out just to say 1 in 7. It may not be anywhere close to that, but let's just say 1 billion people worldwide have a cell phone. So there's your first Internet of Thing. Let's say that 10% of them have either Siri or Cortana or Alexa, one of those things at home. So let's just say there's 100 million of those. Let's say that 10% of those tech-savvy people have a Fitbit or a smartwatch or fill in your list of any version of the body-worn device stuff. Let's say that 1% of them have a smart fridge, 1% of them have a this or that. Let's say that 50% of them have a smart TV. Let's say that 5% of them have either a tablet or a Kindle Fire or just anything in that category. Let's say that 5% of those have a laptop. Let's say that 2% of those have a desktop. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. Same billion tech-savvy people, but if you can imagine the number of devices that each of those people have, and then buy and sell and trade, etc., 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 etc. It's not so much about whether every single one of them is being used and whether every single one of them is on the market. But that's just people. That's just personal use. You could easily be in the 2, 3, 4 billion lane within a year or two. And 2019, 2021. But that's nothing compared to efficiency standards for companies. If you have, let's say, 1 million companies with, let's just say 1 million companies, and each of them has, X number of devices, and they require 1 device for employees, 1 for tracking, 1 for inventory, 1 for, oh my goodness, 1 for each department, right? 1 for those 17 different things that might account for 1 place, all existing in every single location. Take just 1 franchise like McDonald's alone. If they go industry Internet of Things for French fries, Internet of Things for all of their inventory, Internet of Things for when to flip the burgers. You can imagine the device level scalability of this stuff. I think 50 billion is a small number. There are several problems that have prevented mass adoption: scalability, lack of privacy, a high operating cost, lack of functional value. IOTX plans on solving these problems. Okay, we've already been over this. So IOTX technology in terms of architecture, it's aiming to become like the spinal cord and nervous system for Internet of Things systems. This architecture includes the following design features: separation of duties. When dealing with IoT, there are many different features needed in a blockchain because different applications have different needs. This makes it impractical to put Internet of Things nodes all into a single blockchain. Plus, it would cause the blockchain to bloat, making computations slow and heavy. So, IOTX is working with the idea of a separation of duties. This means sidechains will be created for each needed function, and these sidechains will be able to interact with each other when necessary. By creating sidechains, the team believes they can maximize the efficiency of the blockchain and its privacy. So, the thing to understand that, even if you don't understand blockchain, is these are data points and data structures, and they are interconnected and completely separate at the same time, meaning that let's say that your smart fridge needs different information or to report different information than your washing machine. Okay, so all of that can be gathered together, saying this is your house. or this represents this individual or group of individuals. But it also doesn't make sense to turn on and off a channel when there's no channels on a washing machine. So in the same way that changing a rinse cycle doesn't mean anything to a TV. So sidechain means it can deal with each device separately. On the main chain means that it can throughput whatever information needs to be. One way deals with this stuff, relayable payment code to hide the address of the transaction receiver. Address system doesn't require receiving addresses to scan the entire network to become aware of incoming transactions. That's just the way that the computers handle the computing, not the actual thinking behind it on either end, really. Occam's razor principle says the simple solution is usually the correct one. When you apply this to Internet of Things, it means different devices have different needs. One example is where transactions need to be relayed. Those blockchains don't require Turing-complete contracts and could be far simpler. IoT-friendly solutions need to be lightweight. Root blockchain, sidechains, architecture, we kind of already talked about that. Subchain, root chain, etc., etc. Smart contracts. Cross-blockchain communication. Pegging, which is a method for sidechains to scale the Bitcoin network. Public blockchains typically do not include instant block finality. Rolled DPoS consensus. So that's delegated proof of stake. Stakeholders vote for the block producers of the network. There's a set number of block producers, and once they're elected, they remain responsible for adding new blocks to the blockchain. It isn't without flaws, yada yada. The more technical that you are interested in learning about, the more information you can scan on your own. The team behind IOTX is extremely experienced with cryptography and cryptocurrencies. Got a PhD in cryptography. That's pretty cool. Kind of becoming like a smart math field to go into, isn't it? So these are smart people, is what they're saying. The tokens, we basically already talked about that. What they've been worth, development and roadmap. If we were to take a look at the frequency of IOTX commits compared to the other projects, they are ranked number 90, updated until October. This places them between the commits of privacy-centric Zcash. A lot of people are really pro the privacy features of Zcash. And the Trinity network at 91. Looking at IOTX roadmap, we can see the next big step is to reach the launch of the mainnet. Alpha in Q1 of 2019, not long after that in Q2, they're expected to release their digital apps, which allow for the integration, decentralized apps, with smart devices. That's when the robots take over the world. It should be good. In terms of general communication, the IOTX team seems to be quite engaged with their community. For example, they were recently awarded a gold label status by Binance.info, according to Binance. Gold label project is to help ensure users obtain timely updates on crypto projects, as well as trustworthy, accurate, and comprehensive information. Okay, so that's a really important one if you're in our position where you're looking for things to invest in. We try to keep those to the speed of trading. So we're not looking to say, I am a long-term IOTX stakeholder or serious heavy investor. If you make decisions in that category, this might be one to look into. Not financial advice. Do your own research on the Internet of Things and the Internet of Things exchange protocol with the coin, with the thing, with the stuff. But if you're looking to trade, you want to choose things that are not going to get delisted. So that's one way that you can kind of look at that stuff. Meanwhile, Bitcoin's going down. It's in the 5,300s and $272 million. 24-hour volume measured in Tether, the only one that currently matters. A preview of the mainnet was launched in November. The alpha mainnet for the project is planned to launch first quarter 2019. I think that they said they may have done it 2 days ago. Investors are likely disheartened by the lack of gains from the ICO price, but that is almost completely down to the bear market in cryptocurrencies. This will pass, and the IOTX or IOX token has the potential to make massive gains very rapidly, especially if a working product has been launched. I don't really see that being a problem. I don't know how to code the process, but I understand how the coding would happen, and it's not that complicated. Investors are likely disheartened by that, but it has the potential to make massive gains very rapidly, especially if a working product has been launched. With IOTA as competition, the IOTX team will no doubt be challenged along the way, but they believe they have the best solution for our Internet of Things applications and are working hard to prove it. So I think that that's very interesting. I hope you find it interesting as well. So they tagged that in Internet of Things, IOTA, IOTX, IOTX, Privacy Coin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Roll DPOs. So I do think that IOTA is an interesting one to take a look at in comparison. But IOTX, especially since I was watching its activity while the bear market was happening, and everything is just getting crushed by all the let's play around with Bitcoin manipulation in the tens of millions of dollars, is just kind of given, let's call it the smart contract smackdown. Yeah, the alts are hurting, but that means perfect buy-in points. So we're just trying to protect what is not sitting in our circulation in order to be able to get things rolling. And as we've learned in previous trends, it might mean having to wait out 2 to 5 months for certain things. If it's a hold, it could be a hold, but hopefully not the case. So looking for a fast rebound. So thank you for watching IOTX. I think it's interesting to watch. And we hope to be interesting to watch too. Please join, subscribe, ring the bell, comment, thumbs up. Join our community. Your voice is the one that's missing. Mass adoption equals liquidity. Liquidity means trading on a legitimate exchange. We choose Binance. Come and join us for the most altiest alts of them all. All right, God bless you guys. And for now, Gordon Freeman and Archangel Alts out.